viewers, welcome to the second episode of Sports Insights. Education aims at bringing the best in an individual, be it formal or informal. To excel in any field, one must have a guide, a teacher, or a coach. In this episode, we have Mr. Pradeep Raju, a dedicated coach and owner of Suchitra Badminton Academy, who is going to share his insights with us.
Sir, you are the proud owner of Suchitra Badminton Academy, the academy that excels in badminton. How did you get inspired to start this academy? What are the circumstances that motivated you?
There are actually the Suchitra Badminton Academy is located in a school called Suchitra Academy, which is owned by our family, and my brother Praveen runs that academy school.
Okay.
And we wanted to set up a playing area for a badminton center for all the children. So we built 7 courts, and my daughter plays badminton. So she used to be in the national camp through SAI. She was selected and was at training at Gopichand Academy. So there we had a lot of ideas which we wanted to um, implement for badminton athletes, but the academy was not ours, so we could not implement what we wanted to do. So we thought, why not start a academy over here and see what is the best we can give for the players in India. So fortunately, we started this academy in 2016 in the month of November, and God has been kind. The growth has been phenomenal. Lot of top ranked players from India are training in the academy. PV Sindhu, who's the best performing male or female player in the country currently, has been doing a physical fitness and on-court corrections with us since the last 4 years. So after coming here, she won one World Championship gold medal, which we all know, 2 bronze medals, sorry, 2 silver medals in World Championship, and she also won a lot of other international medals after coming here. In academy, before the lockdown into 2019, we achieved close to I think 190 plus medals internationally, nationally, and zonally we won. So that's how the journey is, and we are thankful to God for giving us the opportunity to help young children who want to fulfill their dream.
It is truly inspiring that you had a dream that children should come up in life and you have started this academy. Sir, it is said that family is the foundation of life. How did your family keep you motivated throughout this journey?
See, the good thing is my father, my brothers, both my brothers and me, we were all good sports persons, and we always loved sports. So even though we never played after our college at the national or the international level. So I was a captain for Osmania University and played at the national level in badminton. But after once we finished our college, we never pursued it as a professional career because we had a lot of businesses to take care of. So once we set up this school, we got the right platform to help young athletes. So we not only help badminton players, there are a lot of tennis players who come for physical fitness to us. There are a lot of sailors who come for physical fitness over here. And we also have there's a girl who's won a silver medal in boxing when she was 15 years old, and in the world championship. So she trained with us for around 3 to 4 months over here. So we had a mix of different sports people coming and training with us.
Okay, sir, it's very nice to hear that you support many other sports also. Sir, it is said that every journey begins with the first step, and I'm very sure you had a vision and you have worked very hard to bring that vision come true. So, what were the obstacles you faced throughout this journey, and how did you overcome them?
One of the things which badminton academies, what we have seen, we are from a corporate background. We have large establishments which we've been running for the last almost 30, 40 years. And what we have seen is none of the academies in the country are professionally managed. So because they're not professionally managed, the major issue what we see is they don't understand the concept of teamwork. They don't understand the concept of how do we work on a unified goal and we need to have a common mission and a vision of where we see the athletes in a short-term program and a long-term program. So to make the people in the system understand what we are looking for, I'm talking about the coaches or the trainers or the physiotherapists or even the athletes. So because they were never guided before of how do they need to structure their growth, what do we need to do to structure that growth, and where do they see themselves in a year from now, where do they see themselves 5 years from now. So short-term goals and long-term goals, we had to explain to them what are goals and how do you achieve goals and what are achievable goals. And sometimes people just talk about, I want to become a world champion. Everybody wants to become a world champion. Who doesn't want to become a world champion? But there's a step and a process to being able to give it your realistic shot. We never promise any athlete that this is what we can do for you. We only tell them that, see, we are going to do our best. You have to do your best. And we'll give it a try. So that's how it goes. So it has to go as an organic growth. So we had a lot of obstacles from within the badminton fraternity and from outside. But fortunately, we always stuck to what we are looking to do for the athletes and where do we see Suchitra grow in the next years. There were a lot of obstacles. What we always looked at and what I suggest to everyone who's running an academy or even to athletes is never look at obstacles as obstacles. Look at it as opportunity for learning how not to do certain things or how to do certain things. So even if you fail, it's okay. Even if you lose, it's okay. So it is a process of learning as long as you're learning from that mistake and moving ahead. Okay, this is what went wrong. That's not the end of the world. It's not the end of life. So yes, I made a mistake. We have to own it and admit it. Even in our meetings, if at all there is a mistake which happens by the policy or the decision which I've taken, I'll put my hand up and tell, I'm sorry, this is my call. I made a mistake. So we need to move forward. So what do we need to do to make sure that these things are corrected? And how do we move together as a team? So when we work together as a team, what happens is the number of mistakes what we are going to do are going to be minimized. One. And even if there is something wrong, so we never pinpoint anybody and tell them that this is what has happened because of the decision we have taken because of your suggestion. Okay, it has happened, it has happened. How do we move forward? So that's how every academy or every athlete needs to start thinking.
Yes, sir, it's nice that you used each of your obstacle as an opportunity. Sir, I know that you run an educational institution also, and my personal opinion is that a student who is good at sport is also good at education. What is your opinion regarding this?
It is not just my opinion, it is scientifically proven that people who are involved in sports, I strongly recommend every school in this country has to make sports mandatory, because sports, when you're playing a sport, you need to take decisions in a split second, in a millisecond, and your
Yeah.
brain starts functioning better. So your focus levels are better. So once you are involved in an activity where your focus levels are high, the same thing translates to academics also. And there are more than enough research materials available online stating that people who are involved in sports have ended up performing better than people who are not involved in sports.
It's truly an inspirational message for for all educational institutions that they involve sports as a part of their curriculum. So teaching, coaching, and training a player, it is really stressful job, and the coach is entrusted to bring the best out of the players. So how do you manage the time schedule of the players? How are they kept busy round the clock?
What happens is anything which we are doing with the athletes, it's very important to educate them. Why are they here, and what is the purpose of them training? And it's like a car. If you fill 50 liters of fuel in your car, and the required kilometers what you have to travel, you have already traveled. If you expect to travel beyond that, the car is going to stop.
Yeah.
Similarly, in badminton also, it's very important to badminton and every sport. It's very important to make sure that the loads are calculated properly. So once the loads are calculated properly, and understand that this is what the body can take. So every athlete is very different from the other person. One of the reason why, if you see, there are certain people who are perpetually on injury list because their bodies can't take that kind of a load. So as coaches, we need to understand and bifurcate children based on the load factors. People, it doesn't. We in Suchitra don't believe in if you play for 10 hours, you'll become a champion in a day. It is how many hours of quality training have you done in a day. All the high performing athletes in our center, they don't play on court for more than 2 hours.
Okay.
But the 2 hours is high quality training. They do physical fitness of 1.5 hours. So 3.5 hours to 4 hours, they're all done. So the bodies are so exhausted that if they don't rest, they can't perform the next day. So they all understand that. So they take that required 8 to 10 hours of rest. So that's how we educate the students, and with that it automatically translates into better results.
Is there any proper time schedule like morning you'll do this and then afternoon this and
Basically,
something
yeah,
like that?
we have divided the entire. We have around more than 110 children over here, and we've divided the children into various groups. So if a group has an on-court session in the morning, we give at least 3 to 4 hours gap before a physical fitness session is taken because the body needs to recover. So depending on the age category and depending on the skill set, so the rest is slightly more for people who are highly skilled because they can take higher loads. So that's how it is. So if they have fitness in the morning, then they do on court in the evening, and if they have on court in the morning, they do physical fitness in the evening. That's how we are structured it.
It's nice to hear that you all use scientific techniques to bring about changes in the players. Sir, many international and national level players are training at your academy. And I do know that PV Sindhu is also getting ready for her Olympics at your academy. So, how are her preparations going on?
Sindhu is actually a coach's delight for how if a coach is dreaming that an athlete's behavior, athlete's skill and commitment should be at a certain level, Sindhu is the perfect example which I can give. So she is always ready for more, and she has very high goals for herself. So she's been working really hard for Olympics. I'm just praying for her that she wins a gold medal for the country. The kind of effort she's putting in, I've never seen any athlete in my lifetime putting in the same kind of effort what she puts in. She travels close to 120 kilometers every day to come to our academy from her house. So it's not easy for a high level, high performing athlete to come so far and train. So it's
So,
gone.
you have, yes, it is.
No, I'm saying it's all going good for her. So we all need to pray and hope that she brings the gold medal to our country.
So how are her on-court preparations going on? Like who are assisting her during the coaching and all?
On court exclusively is being done by Coach Park from South Korea. So he's been
Okay.
appointed by Sports Authority of India, and he communicates to us of what are the kind of sparring players he requires for Sindhu. So I send that kind of a player who, if at all it is defense practice for Sindhu, I send people whose attack is very good. And if her attacking is there, I send people who are very good at defense. If it is court endurance, I send players whose court endurance is very good. So who's to make sure that everybody is pushing Sindhu beyond her limit. So that is our role over here. And Park does the rest, and he's doing a very good job with Sindhu. I'm happy the way he's working, and he knows what Sindhu requires and how to bring the best out of her.
Yes, sir. Looking at all her artworks, even we wish that PV Sindhu win Olympics this time. Sir, could you please tell about some other top players who are engaged at your academy?
I'll start with the girls. We have Akashi Kashyap, who's India number one in the women's circuit. He's been India number one from the under 15, under 17, under 19, and in the women category. So she's also the best performing women singles player after Sindhu and Saina. So we are all hoping that she goes one step ahead and starts winning international tournaments, not just the national tournaments. And we have there's another girl called Ria Habu. She was India number one in the under 17 category. Now in the under 19 category. And we have Ruhi Raju, who's my daughter, who was in the top 15 in the world in 2019 before lockdown. And we have Riya Mukherjee, who's number, I think, 5 in the country right now in women's singles. And in doubles also, we have a lot of top players playing with us. And in the men's doubles, we have Utkarsh and Saurabh, who have won 2 gold medals and 1 bronze medal in the last 3 national ranking tournaments which were conducted in India before lockdown. And we have Gauss, who's India number 2, also training with us. So the list goes on. We have around 45 plus athletes in the academy who are or were in the top 7 in the country in this age category or the previous age category.
Yes, sir. It's very inspiring to listen that so many top athletes train at your academy. So, being a head coach, it is a very stressful job. So, do you have some other coaches who share your responsibility? How are the workloads managed?
So here in Suchitra, it's all about teamwork. It's I manage the entire academy. We have 2 senior Indonesian coaches from who are working over here. One of them who's a former top 10 player in the world, Jonathan Dasuki. He's really good, and we have a lot of Indian coaches also who are taking care of different groups. So here at Suchitra, the reason why things are much better than any other place in the country is because we give roles and responsibilities to these coaches and fitness trainers, and what are we looking for an output from these athletes, and where do we see them 5 years from now, a year from now? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? So all these coaches are supposed to are noting down those things and working on those things. So there is literally absolutely no burden on everybody or anybody in this academy. All of them work as if it is their own academy. So that gives a lot of positive vibration to everyone who's working. So, and every coach I've seen in our academy feels the belonging of themselves over here, and they feel that yes, this is my academy, and I need to make sure that I produce players from here. So that's how we are all working together. So I feel there is absolutely zero stress because we run it more like a corporate entity where things take care of themselves. It's not dependent on people. Even if I'm not here for a week, even if a coach is not, any of the senior coaches are not here for a week or 10 days, the system takes care of things. So that's how it is operated here.
Sir, I've heard about your fitness coach. Could you please tell something more about him?
Yeah, so we have a very senior coach. His name is Shrikant. So he's the head of the fitness training center here, and he's certified from the Australian Strength and Conditioning, and he he understands the players' requirements, and he trains a lot of uh, all the weight training or the strength and conditioning program which is there is a very specific to badminton movement. How a body moves in a badminton court is the muscles which are used to play are the muscles which we give an extra stress on. And that way he's really good, and he knows every athlete very well, and he knows to design the perfect program for every athlete. Sindhu also is training under him right now, and we are glad he's been with us from inception when we started in November 2016. He's been with us.
So, what about your physiotherapist?
We have three very senior physiotherapists. One is also again certified by a physiotherapy agency in Australia. The other two physiotherapists, one of them is Evangeline, who's been working with Sindhu in the last 3 years, and they actually examine every child almost on a regular basis. And when they feel that the body is has some sort of a spasm in the body, which can turn into an injury, so they raise a red flag and saying that, sir, it is better to rest this person for 3 days or a week so that this pain does not get converted into an injury. So that is one of the reason why we have lesser injuries to our athletes compared to outsiders.
So, your academy truly has the top faculty to teach the top players. So, your daughter, Ruhi Raju, she is also an international badminton player. So, what are your expectations about her?
See, the thing is, Ruhi is my daughter, but she's just another player in our academy. So what I mentioned before also is, it is not what we think about an athlete and where we see the athlete to go, where we want them to go. We all want to see every athlete bring a gold medal in Olympics and in the World Championship. It is the athlete who needs to feel that. So she's one of the athletes who really feels that um, she can make it to the top. She's been working very hard. I think it's the entire thing is an organic growth. So we need to cross our fingers and see how the progress goes. She's been working hard, and she has beaten a lot of top players in the juniors and a few top 100 players in the seniors as a junior. She has beaten them. So let's just hoping things work out, because she's already won more than 10, 12 medals internationally.
Yes, sir, hoping for the best. Sir, during this lockdown, how did you carry on your daily training program?
Fortunately, the government of Telangana never had a complete lockdown. The second lockdown, which was there,
Okay.
it was never a complete lockdown. So during this time, we were permitted to open the academy, and we created a bio bubble. It's been almost 4 or 5 months since 4 months. No athlete has stepped out of the academy. We are very proud of the system what we have in the academy. We started in August 2020 after the government of India has given clearance for badminton or other sports, all the sports to start. Since August to July, it's almost a year, there is not even one case which has been reported from our academy. So the system, what we have, has been working very well for us, and the athletes have responded, coaches have responded. So God has been kind.
Yeah. Sir, as a badminton coach, I'm sure you follow some strategies. So, could you please tell some secret techniques that players should keep in mind to maintain their fitness?
See, first thing is there is no uh, fixed strategy. It all depends on whom you're playing when. And to remain at top fitness, the athlete has to feel from inside. See, till if you are a badminton player, if you tell me you're tired and you cannot push beyond what you are being pushed. If you're speaking the truth, perfect. If you're not speaking the truth because you don't want to do those drills, I'm not going to lose anything. The athlete is the one who's going to lose everything. So we try to push the athletes to their limits, but if the athlete puts their hand up and says, "Sir, I'm not able to do it," we stop immediately because we believe that they're speaking the truth. So it's very important that every athlete should feel from within. And when something, coaches will keep telling that um, you need to push beyond your limit. So they need to understand what they need, and they have to push themselves to the limit what they are capable of.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Sir, badminton is a very expensive game. I think it like that. And I've seen many people leaving badminton because of they cannot afford the expenses, or their parents are unable to afford the fee. So, what do you think about this? And do you have any plans to move into the rural areas?
See, we've been getting a lot of offers to start academies in different parts of the country. One of the reason is to give quality training. It's with a remote control operation, it's not possible. So that is one of the reasons why we would love to be or take up different academies in different parts of the country. But if the quality of training is we are not able to give, then the sport or the people who are coming with a certain dream will get affected. And we do our bit by supporting a lot of athletes within the academy. So there are more than 15 to 20 athletes whom we give discount in terms of fees. And we also, of course, there are some athletes whom we don't charge at all because of their social and economical background which they are in. So this is the bit which we do, but this is what we can do. So to go in a bigger way, it's very important for the government to support athletes who have the potential to be able to move forward.
It's very nice to listen that you are doing all your best that you can to support the athletes. So change is universal in all fields, and I have seen that badminton game is evolved over the period of time. So what do you think about this? Is it faster than before?
See, change is something which is very common, and change is something which is there in every part of life, including badminton.
Yeah.
So we need to adapt to change. It sometimes, uh, if you look at PV Sindhu likes to play fast. But if she comes across somebody who plays faster than her, what does she do? So she has to have a plan A, plan B, plan C to be able to counter the requirements to beat the opponent. So it's very important to be able to understand what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and how do we move forward.
So could you please give an inspirational message to our young and budding badminton players?
I wish, and my dream is to see at least 15 or 20 uh, athletes making it to the top of the world. Like what you see in Japan, we have more top 10 or top 20 players from Japan than any other country. So humanly, it is possible. Japan was in a situation which was much worse than where we are in the world rankings 10 years back, and we see where they are today. So every athlete needs to never lose hope and believe in themselves. The day you as individuals start believing that yes, I can achieve this, it anything, you can move mountains. If our ancestors and forefathers would have thought that living the way we are living in jungles is the way we are going to live, we all would have been living in the jungle. So they had this vision, they had this thought of from bullock carts to cars to aeroplanes to electricity. So there's so much they have done. So if we as individuals start believing in ourselves that yes, I have it in me to be the best in the country or best in the world, and work unconditionally without compromising on anything, that goal can be achieved. And I wish everyone all the best, and I hope they are. I see a lot of athletes coming out of India performing at the highest stage.
It was truly an inspirational message, and I hope one day your dreams may come true and we may see many more players in the world rankings. Sir, it was really a very nice time having an interview with you.
Thank you for having me over. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Commitment, cooperation, dedication, and continuous efforts helps a person reach his destination. With the aim of bagging gold medal in Tokyo Olympics, I wish good luck to Mr. Pradeep Raju, his team members, and all the proud players. May God bless you with good health and happiness. Best wishes from Sports Insights. Thank you.